2세트 T1의
That was
완벽한
T1
복수가
versus
펼쳐졌습니다.
Afreeca game number 2. T1
가져갔는데요.
punched
젠픽에서
Afreeca back.
부분인가요?
Was that expected starting from the draft?
아펠, 칼리, 이즈 중에서 이제
Paris
칼리랑
and
이즈가
Phyllis
살았는데
Kalista.
T1은 칼리를 가져왔어요.
Well,
근데 이제 이즈리얼이
Kalista was up, but well, actually, maybe Afreeca thinking that Ezreal is not as good as other picks, they locked in Ashe, and other comp was very standard LCK style. Indeed, both teams focused on the bot lane picks. Afreeca was following, or rather copying T1's comp, as we saw in MSC. But if you lock in a same OP champion and similar comp, you see a very one-sided series, and that this game was also a copy of that kind of storyline. And what do you think of the Alistar pick? Well, I didn't think that it was a good pick into Brown, but he was able to get a lot of lane pressure, and in addition to that, he had a lot of pressure all around the map, roaming around other lanes. As you mentioned, with effort rotation, T1 got a huge lead in the early game. Twisted Fate pushes in the wave. So with this lane priority, he rotates to the bottom lane. Based on this, actually Twisted Fate's recalls, and then Kali and Alistar also shove in the wave, and they both recall to the base. Mid and bot, they're helping each other, and then we have to take a look over here. We expected to just Alistar to roam to the top side, but as they saw Ashe freezing the lane, they actually take a sidestep into the top side. It was a very flexible decision coming from Teddy and Effort. So with this smooth rotation to the top side, 4 of the T1 members were able to pick up Kiin on Silas. With that lane freeze coming from Mystic, actually T1's bot duo had a lot of choice to kind of decide whether going for the bot lane, whether going to the top side. With this Herald raising the tier 1 turret in the top lane, there was a huge gold gap between two AD carry players. With the assist and also the first turret plates, they had a very huge goal difference at the 9-minute mark of the game. After that, T1 grouped up and keep their control of the game. Based on their control and lead, T1 was now rotating and focusing on to the macro. Brown and Alistar are really similar, but Brown was only a wannabe Alistar right here, so he had a very lower teamfight ability. Afreeca, they were kind of forcing that fight up against T1, but that was not a successful attempt. It was a really hard game for Afreeca because they had only one breakthrough in this game. However, engaging onto or collapsing onto Alistar was not a good choice.
자, 이어서 이번 게임 POG를 만나볼 시간인데요.
Then let's check out who the player of the game from T1 is. And we wanna actually announce another thing here. It was not a casting vote that decided the POG in game number 1. It was just because of the vote difference. Actually, Ben just won more votes than Fly. Now moving on to game number 2, the player of the game will be Effort and Alistar. I guess the support competition is real here. But now handing over to Effort, the POG. You can say Alistar is a pocket pick, and it really depends on the player's proficiency on this champion. But Effort was single-handedly carrying every team fight with his abilities.
경기를 정말 잘 풀어주는 역할을 했어요.
effort was the key player that opened the window for T1 to keep expanding and accelerating their lead.
생각이 드는데요. 양쪽 이제
Kalista and Alistar is not a very meta pick, so maybe they didn't went through a lot of practice, but despite of the lack of the practice, T1 still had a very clean performance on this pocket comp. Then let's check out whether T1 can extend their win streak or whether Afreeca will be the one.
Thank you, G-Sun, once again for another great translation. And we're getting into the final match of the series, Afreeca versus T1. T1 clapped them in Game 2, but Afreeca also did the same in Game 1. So it'll be really interesting to see how the drafts change. I think we were really focusing on T1's draft from Game 1 and not really liking it too much. If they go back to the drawing board, try something new, maybe try a little bit of what worked in Game number 2, maybe they can take it, or what Afreeca can do to try to challenge them after getting crushed like that in the last one. So
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, let's see what they can do here. As Afreeca decide, actually taking a little time here to decide. It's going to be the set. Varus and Yumi now removed from the table. And obviously the questions do still remain Karma, Ezreal, Aphelios, champions of that nature. Aphelios will get banned here.
Yeah, they changed their Kalista ban to Aphelios. They don't want to draft against it. They just don't want to play against it at all.
And Kalista taken off the table, so I wonder if Afreeca just go for the B1 Ezreal here.
Trundle, best they can do. Or Karma. Karma's still available.
If they pick Trundle, they will lose.
And you were actually right. The Ezreal is going to get locked in here. Coach, by the way. Well. MF just immediately slammed down. So, I was actually joking earlier with one of the production people. I'm like, remember when we used to see MF? Remember when she was the champion? And T1 want to make it happen again. And, you know, with the Nautilus, which is very common.
Now, they could go Ezreal Bard, and then you can use the Bard ultimate, Tempered Fate, in order to stop the MF ultimate. Whoa, 5 head.
Bullet time.
Yeah. No,
or you can just block it.
They're going for a very blue team composition here, Afreeca. They're really on theme with their colors.
Okay. That's good. And I'm guessing you don't mean the background colors of their
What?
You're not talking about the background colors of their portraits. You're talking about the Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the way that they
No.
works.
And you can see on the side of T1, there's a lot of yellow going on here.
Yes, a little bit of red too.
A little bit of red.
A little bit orange.
Yeah.
You know, that's another T1 color.
Not a big deal here. Urgot getting banned away.
Yeah, too strong.
And I wonder if that just means that they want to R4 Aatrox? Or what it could be implying.
Yeah, Kana did look pretty comfortable on the Aatrox, you know, regardless of the way that the Urgot was able to get a lot of value early on in the game and in the lane. I'm surprised that Karma fell that low, actually.
Yeah. And Gragas now banned away as well. I mean, Graves could just get picked up here by T1. No, they're hovering Jarvan.
Want a little bit more lockdown, perhaps. It allows Azir and MF to do their jobs a little bit easier. But definitely not a lot of great targets on the enemy team that you're going to want to be cataclysming. And so it gets changed to Olaf.
So Trundle actually rose to power originally as an answer to Olaf.
the beginning of spring, right?
Yeah, in the beginning of spring, and now we have a Mordekaiser coming in blind, and I really don't know what to really make of this. As yeah, I'm not totally sure. It's coming in blind, and I mean I'm very doubtful that's Mordekaiser mid. It's probably more top for sure. And now what? Are they gonna pick Vigar? Well, the problem is that Olaf is so good against Vigar. Otherwise, he would be probably a champion that Fly would be thinking about. Wow, Victor.
Victor. Man. Haven't seen him in a hot minute.
Well, set the alarm clock. We're in for a long one here. Victor's
Yeah, just, lean back in your chair.
Victor's gonna need about 30 minutes until he becomes relevant. And now Jace being hovered. I'm actually really surprised that Fiora isn't just picked up here instantly by Kana. It is one of the most unplayable matchups for Mordekaiser.
Yeah, sometimes we see players in the LCK that are like, I am picking for the lane, I am going to win my lane or my jungle matchup, and that's that. I don't care about LS talking about comps or any of that. And then sometimes they're just like, you know what, actually, I'd rather play this other thing instead of taking the easy hard counter in the lane.
Well, T1 with the Jace last pick into the Mordekaiser. It's going to be entirely dependent on how far ahead Jace can get, but Mord's going to get a lot of value out of Seeker's Arm Guard against the Jace and the Olaf. So, we'll see how that matchup ends up going. Obviously, the Azir is going to be very important. Victor and Ezreal are going to be the real two centerpieces to this team composition.
It's a lot of magic damage.
Yeah.
When you look at it,
it's an insane amount of magic, which is very problematic.
Even the subjugate from the Trundle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like everything.
Yeah.
In their comp is just full of it. And Olaf and Nautilus can easily go straight into MR items.
And Banshee's Veil as well for
True.
Azir.
W.
Jace is going to be able to get Hex Drinker in this game. I mean, it's definitely easy to itemize for T1 in the later stages for sure. But they have a lot of pressure to get ahead early.
Yeah, they definitely like to. And try to eventually, cut the game short before it gets too far along against this Victor, although they do have some late game scaling of their own. In Faker's Azir, everybody knows about this. He was actually highlighted in our opening video, the title video of 2020 Summer, where it's Faker in his CGI Azir suit up there and pulls the Emperor's Divide forward, which I really enjoyed that video.
Did you?
Yeah.
I actually think that's my favorite animation in the whole video. Is the Emperor?
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best one, by far. Actually. You know what would have been really cool is if an extended director's cut comes out of
Yeah.
that, and the Sand Soldiers, actually Faker just rides them over to the ice cream truck.
You and Faker and the ice cream.
And then
You're still talking about the vanilla ice cream
he
yesterday.
gets a world cone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I really want that world cone.
And honestly, you know what, Valdez? Do not mock vanilla ice cream. All right,
No,
we might need it.
I love it.
We might need it this game. So
It's the secret word.
yeah.
Gets everything going.
So for a team composition that isn't trying to win early and that's trying to scale, we can really see that's in Fly's mindset here with the Scorch over the Gathering Storm.
Yeah, I don't even know. Against an Azir, I guess he really is desperately trying to take early trades and somehow pushing Azir out, which doesn't seem very plausible.
And Faker is already losing mid lane. I mean, mid lane I think is lost now at this point.
What is going on? This is not
Not
my League of Legends.
yeah. So Faker's actually super far behind right now, and what is actually... Hello?
He doesn't have Pillar. I mean, he's just like...
This is
he's
the
angry.
most
He's
sinful?
angry. Trundle opening of all time. He's got 4 CS.
He needs to bathe in holy water after this one.
Yeah, that was a little bit wonky.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm here. I might as well, I guess. Lol.
Well, wow. I mean, Olaf is up 4 camps at the end of that red.
Yeah. What if like we're looking at you know, like 3 years down the line, we're watching like LCK 2023, and like that is the normal jungler meta. It's like become so convoluted, and it's always like Lee Sin against Olaf every single game. And all they do is just like run at all the lanes immediately, like right after they get one buff, and that is the meta. I don't think you would enjoy that world too
You know what
much.
that actually, yeah, you know what this reminds me of? Did you ever see the Justice League, the Future Vision, the movie? You didn't, of course you get out.
You're like saying the movie as if that's going to help.
No.
Like,
Whatever, never mind.
Justice
Completely
League.
ignore it. Just, honestly, just stop.
More
while you're-
superheroes.
Stop while you're ahead.
You're going to need Max. You're going to need Atlas on the broadcast for that one. I haven't seen too many of those.
Well, up here in top lane, Mordekai's are not really having the hardest of times so far. Gonna end up giving up one of those minions, and probably just gonna shove in this next wave, but Jace is not having the best of times. There's another laser by Fly, who also, I mean, he took Ghost, and remember, this is the Ghost change. So, it does turn on right away. I mean, Victor is still weak compared to what he used to be at before.
Wow.
Flash forward.
Getting on top of this Ezreal real early. We do have a pillar to come in. He wants to try to block LM. And with the exhaust, is he going to be able to do it? The damage isn't there. They're going to lock him down and actually get the kill onto the Olaf. That was only going one direction, and now Spirit is even going to have to flash. Turns out they had enough damage to push him out of the way.
The problem is that this lane state is really ugly for T1, so even though it's a 1-for-1, Teddy and Effort are actually losing out at the end of the day because Mystic has teleport. So, Misfortune's going to go back, does pick up a BF sword, and you can see here, Keen's going to come in, he's going to help Fly shove out this wave because Fly needs relief. Doesn't have enough mana to sustain through. And yeah, honestly, that's not a good look, to be completely honest.
We've had a lot of games of Victor versus Azir.
Yes.
When was the biggest meta of Victor versus Azir?
2016.
2016, right.
Yeah,
I thought
that's-
maybe it was 17.
It's been many years, and then Talia rose up and put an end to it. So, Effort flashing forward. They had Elm coming in. Spirit was here. Really nice pillar. He tries to flash forward as well. Gets tagged by the exhaust. Teddy goes forward, but Afreeca picking up a kill as well. Spirit
Press the attack.
really messing up, though. Trying to persist on with his damage.
Yeah.
Not finding anything.
That initial burst of the press the attack plus the straight Ezreal Q to the face onto the Olaf, I think it gave Spirit an overestimated kind of feeling of his power in that moment, and so he stuck around a little bit too long. Is falling a bit behind on the Olaf. He's down a level. He's down 3 camps, even though the Olaf died, which is kind of interesting.
Ooh.
As we're going to have the ultimate coming in here from Keen. He's flashing. He wants the kill right now. He's going to try to pick up that solo. Does he have the grip here once again? He's going to try to land. And, well, he's not going to pick up the kill.
Yeah.
He at least pushed Kana out of the lane.
And Kana does have teleport, so it's not the end of the world by any means.
That was a very awkward anchor. They're not quite going to have the damage. They got to follow up on this, but there's TP coming in and Ellen behind them. End Faker from the river. This is a disaster for Afreeca. Giving him 3 free kills, essentially. It's kind of like a world cone with sprinkles on top. Faker's
Honestly,
loving it right
yeah,
now.
The overlay does show 3 world cones, and I think that is exactly what just happened there. So The vanilla ice cream buff really coming in handy here for T1.
Oh, yeah.
As that whole thing just happened because Effort got away. So I guess you could say Nautilus brought them to the deep end.
Ooh.
You know?
Should have brought their floaties. Oh, boy.
That was terrible. That was actually awful.
That's the point.
Some people's ears are bleeding. Oh, man.
Well, break it down.
Yeah, let's break this one down.
Break down
So,
the getaway.
Mystic and Ben just doing a lot of damage, but then Mystic clicks away from Effort, and Effort would have gotten a shield back up. As we come back into live, we see a Chaos Storm.
Take it away, Ellis.
Yeah, well, Azir is going to get a kill onto the Victor. And I feel like this game's over.
You're feeling it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, declared at 8 minutes, 22 seconds. That's an early one, even for LS.
I think I'm finding it pretty hard to believe that this Victor is ever going to be of any relevance. And with the Ezreal having been put behind, I think that the Dragon conversions are just going to add a little bit too much pressure. Also, I mean, the fact that, again, the itemization that we talked about for T1 in the later stages, there's so much magic damage, and Mordekaiser just isn't a champion. So, I'm not really sure how we arrived here. Spirit looking us in a little bit.
It's almost like he feels desperate to get something going. He did take a nice little route here, though.
Yeah, Keen Kana is playing super safe right now.
Oh, fly.
And, yeah, fly.
He's got his flash, at least. I thought maybe he would have blown that in the last fight, but not the case.
And I think all that Keen is trying to do right now...
Well, okay, he's going to get that grip down, and they have a bunch of slows with the red smite. They're just going to go ahead and burn him down. That looked that was really nice.
Very wonky.
Yeah.
It almost looked like they were not on the same page with one another, but then it ended up working out, and I would be surprised if both of them weren't surprised with how that whole series of events just unfolded.
Surprising amount of damage.
Yeah.
With the red smite, the red buff. And, I mean, they just, like, kind of burned him down, almost like it was Leandri's or something. Great item, by the way.
Get yours today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only, what is it, 3,100?
3,100, yeah.
Yeah, in the shop.
I can give you a discount.
Oh, great.
Not a big deal.
I didn't know you were the shopkeeper, but...
내가 미드 볼 수 있는데, 상혁이 형. 야,
Salesman.
스킬 썼다, 얘. 우리 미드 볼게.
We're gonna look mid.
상동 아래 무빙 중, 빅토리 잡자, 상동아.
Well,
나이스.
Effort
Hold on,
saying nice.
Nice.
Yep. Let's take a look at this one. This one's very strange. So, Kana gets hit by the grasp and just dies? I mean, the whole thing looked very awkward.
Red smite, red buff.
Yeah.
Mordekaiser.
Yeah, I was very surprised there. And I mean, we come back into live, the item now, Hex Drinker, has been picked up. It's insane value against the entire team comp of Afreeca. Everyone on their team deals magic to some extent. Obviously, Ezreal and Trundle are going to be dealing a little bit of hybrid, but...
If you're going to go, you got to go now, but Mystic able to pop back. He will be totally fine. Ben, that's a good scan. I would actually scan the Krugs, too. That's very common. He sees it, but I don't know if he actually saw it, if you catch my drift. So that's going to get away there.
I don't catch it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine. You don't need to.
No place.
All right. So...
Unless I'm missing something.
So wasn't there that patch where it was like, okay, the jungler is always going to get it or something? Or there's like a massive range?
It's 2,000 or it's 2,500 range on turret plates.
Yeah. So was he too far? Like, was it a vision bug? Or like, was he actually too far?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure if Trundle ended up getting it, but definitely strange. 10 seconds until Mountain Dragon. Faker is just going to shifting sands out of there. And Mountain Dragon is finally alive. T1 are absolutely in the driver's seat together.
Oh boy.
Okay.
There's
well,
no flash. He's just a sitting duck. Chaos Storm is ticking. Ooh. Okay. Did a little bit of damage. And the Victor, it looks pretty sad to watch.
yeah. And Hex Core totally completed at this point, but this is going to be Mountain Dragon going over, and I mean, she's getting some value here. 3 armor and 2 magic resistance.
Nice.
Wow. Amazing. Only level 9, so obviously those numbers will go up in the later stages of the game. And T1 rolling Infernal. It's the best Drake for them to get right now.
It's so big. For Jace, MF, Azir, that's just insanity. Even Olaf is going to be feeling pretty nice. Things are only looking like bright skies right now for T1.
Yeah. Things are looking like they have total control over this game. Victor is going to be stuck, and this is one of the problems with Victor. He's such a heavy champion that you have to rush the entire Hex Core. Take a look at this replay, Faker. They're setting up to play Gravity Field and Chaos Storm, but not going to have enough damage to bring down Azir.
Oh, again?
If
so mean.
Yeah, if Victor, I mean, well, Victor,
okay. It's going to try to force it here against Faker, and now we have the rotations coming in. Faker is going to survive, though, for so long. He's actually going to get the kill, and he will survive against any further damage. Ben and Spirit not able to get in here, and Ben is absolutely going to go down even after flashing. Pretty risky to try to go for that on a low percentage.
Yeah.
Now T1 are just getting so much on the map.
They're just so far ahead right now. They're going to extend their gold lead to about 5,000, and you can't really imagine a world where Afreeca managed to hang on here and come back, because T1, they have the pressure coming in from the Dragons. They're going to threaten Soul at a very early point inside of this game. Faker looking like he's going to raise the top tier 1 as well. And if Victor and his machinery were a deep learning project, I'm pretty sure he would unplug himself as the best play.
Wow. He's learned so deeply that that's the only way to handle.
I think that's actually, yeah, that's the best. That's the best move, actually.
At least T1 provided them with a ward farm there in the mid lane. Fly is like, maybe I can laser the... No, I can't laser the lane. Oh. And then we just see Keen. You see misses a couple of skills here in this one. Misses 2 Qs, it looks like, actually, which would have killed Faker. But instead, it looks like Faker actually has Triumph with the, I'm guessing, lethal tempo for the Azir. True Shot Barrage goes wide.
Yeah.
미리 잡았어 천천히.
We
미-
got
어때요?
mid.
안에 좀 안 좋아. 야. 안에 개피 못해 개피. 야
Ward is
좋은데
slow,
좋은데
ward is
좋은데.
slow.
좋아 좋아 좋아.
Good, 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 good.
야 이재공인 조심. 이재공 조심
The
이재공.
FPs are out of
이재공
control.
빠졌어. 이제 아래 여기.
Meanwhile,
Ezreal was below. Ezreal was below. Yogi, over here. Now, interestingly enough, what I think, so the 3 wards might have looked really troll, but the reason that you place the wards in a fight like that is the opponent might actually misclick and auto attack it. So it's really key. And this is actually another thing that you can do if you have blue trinket late game and you're in a team fight. I mean yellow trinket too. Summon the trinket on top of one of your teammates that are getting auto attacked or in a fight.
Yeah.
And sometimes the opponent might actually misclick. And that can equate to several hundred damage depending on what it is that they end up wasting their misclick on. So
Yeah. That's true. I never actually thought about that, but that's a cute way to min-max
Yeah, I
team
mean,
fights.
there's
you know?
no other reason to have those wards at that fight, and it's such a decisive fight. Just spam drop the wards and hope they misclick.
Yeah.
That's an actual thing that you can do. So if you're a support player and you're in a team fight in mid game, there's no reason to have vision. Spam drop your wards on top of an ally getting autoed by the enemy AD carry or something, and maybe there's a chance that you absorb 2 autos, and that's a lot of value.
Yeah, definitely is. But I think Afreeca need about 7,000 autos right now to absorb because they're just getting dunked. They get clamped on here. They get sandwiched. And here comes Baker. He's going to blow them the other way, and, well, he's going to die. But he opens up a bunch of kills for his team. Oh, man, Keen trying to land those Qs. This time he will, but he will bite the dust afterwards. There you go. That is the ace. It's not clean, as Teddy and Faker did go down, but it does not matter because T1 are just so far ahead.
Yeah, so Rift Herald is going to crash into the mid-tier 2 here. Kana going to pick up all of the proximity gold. You see the magic resistance coming out on everyone. Really nice to see. They're going to get the Infernal Dragon for themselves. Let's take a look at this juggernaut right here. Wow. 1 ability power
Oh,
picked
boy.
up for Nautilus, yeah. Truly a sight to behold. I'm not really quite sure how Afreeca is going to come back from that one.
Wow.
As we're taking another look at the replay, this is Afreeca trying to fight for vision and do stuff when they can't really afford to.
The Nautilus. Let's
Victor
take a look at
casts
this.
his ghost so that he can die sooner.
Kana 1v2. He gets stunned up here. Mystic might be fed a kill. Looks likely. There it is. He's going to get the shutdown onto the Jace. And he's pretty much their only hope. I mean, Victor, you know, he was never really a champion in this game. And the Mordekaiser is doing okay, but not as well as the Jace.
Victor's machinery right now is trying to process /FF as the command, but having a little bit of difficulty executing upon it. As the new Blast Cone effort, toying around with it really quickly, just, you know, eyeing it up.
Yeah, he's seeing all the
Honestly,
angles.
Nautilus has a very elegant strut. Okay.
Do you think so?
I do think so. The way that he manages to carry himself despite all that armor.
With all the armor, it's impressive.
It really is.
It makes you think that he's probably got a lot of muscle under that, armor.
Honestly.
In order to carry it with that much grace, I mean, that's the only way, right?
A lot of peacefulness in how he walks. Just pay attention to him next time he's on. Yeah. Honestly, truly a lot. And, I mean, next time he's on your screen, just pay attention to it. Take a look at him. Look at that hunk of armor.
I see what you did there. Yeah, he looks like he's skipping almost. Look at the back of his feet when he's running away.
Yeah, I mean...
Look at he's like coming up so high. Like,
yeah.
It's like he's running down the lane.
He's so happy.
Yeah. Here, let me just quickly hook this Ezreal. Oh, wait, that was a little bit short.
He wasn't actually trying to hit there. He was trying to rupture his eardrums.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think he was just kind of showing off. Ooh, look at my anchor. Yeah, I mean, the Nautilus is kind of interesting on a serious note. You know, into the Ezreal, it might be counterintuitive, but what I saw in the last fight was kind of interesting where he depth charges Ezreal, and then the Ezreal arcane shifts away, and then the entire front line gets depth charged.
Yeah.
And then there's like 3 or 4 people that are in front of Ezreal who is trying to run away. You know, it makes sense because you don't want to front tank as Ezreal. But might have to hold that thought. It just seemed like a good idea. And here we go again. But this time it's in the back line. And there you go. Wombo combo. Yes, MF is going to die. It doesn't end up mattering as Keen. Okay. All right, Keen. Trying to bully Nautilus. See how it is. We don't take kindly to your part. To you around these
Nautilus
parts.
called in his bros.
Yeah.
To make quick work. Showed Mordekaiser whose suit is really better.
Yeah.
That's actually what Keen was really going for there.
Didn't
when he
take
death
very
realmed
long.
him. Yeah, he really wanted Nautilus' suit of armor.
Yeah.
Okay, T1, they're just gonna pick up the Baron. This will convert. I mean, it'll persist into the Infernal Soul. Is gonna end up getting picked up as well. Magic resistance even on Teddy at this point. Things are just.
Why are they bullying Nolan?
Honestly, just bullying him. And this is a little bit ridiculous.
Reported.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
So we take a look at this. Make It Rain comes out. Teddy, some really nice movement. Pillar does knock him up, but then they don't have the Pillar or the bullet time.
Oh.
Mystic, with the Arcane Shift, able to just tag Teddy. He ends up dying there, but again, it's just way too lost of a fight. Fly trying to do his best to run away. I mean, Victor is just... There's a reason we don't see him.
Yeah, I don't understand the Victor pick there. Can you name me like 5 different picks that could have been better in that spot?
Was Corky open?
Corky was open. Down here. Sorry, I know you're lost sight. But
Yeah, I'm lost sight.
Trying to look at the draft.
I can't read your handwriting.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It really is.
There was no Corky ban, though. I think Corky would have been pretty straightforward. It sucks because they drafted so much AP before picking their mid laner. You know, maybe the Mord pick was actually the problem. But as I say that, Mordekaiser is trying to get on top of Kana here. And not quite. Hexdrinker is going to help out a lot there, and he will just be bursted down. As they did actually kill Faker, who was alone in the enemy base for some reason. Didn't quite see that, but they did that all before the Infernal Drake spawn. So now this is a chance for Afreeca to actually take the Infernal.
Well, I think even with just 3 members remaining, it's okay.
How about just one? or not?
Well, they didn't actually get a kill, and Mystic is...
Teddy's kind of slowed up here. This is a little bit awkward for him. He gets the 1, but the Trundle will take him down. Mystic picks up the kill.
Oh, the Winions.
Casually taking out the base here.
Oh, man.
Gonna try to steal.
Yeah.
Elam shows himself, though. Okay.
And the Ocean Dragon that they have is pretty interesting.
Nope, a little bit late there. But it was still a good smite, around 800, so...
And so, Afreeca, I mean, they're still fighting to try to stay inside of this game. We'll take a look at the replay. So, Faker, you can see him inside of the base. He summons his Sand Soldiers, but really, I mean, he gets exhausted and then just tagged up. Couldn't really get into the team fight. Mystic Arcane shifting forward just to guarantee that Faker could not ever escape here. And Teddy, with a bit of a better angle, bullet time, everything is won here, but unfortunately gets locked up. Ends up using the QSS. He could have actually ran away, but he really wanted to stand his ground. I mean, T1 still, they will win the game.
Yeah.
It's a 12,000 gold lead with 1 Mountain Drake and 1 Infernal.
Yeah, they're all so tanky. I guess it's only Faker who hasn't really picked up any MR, but he has Zhonya's on Azir, so it shouldn't matter too much. Everybody else has some form of MR, especially the tanky members. And they're kind of just hanging around here. Would have been nice to see them actually just safely take the Infernal and then go for a push, but they wanted to make the most use of their Baron buff and ended up fighting them.
And it seems like T1, they're just posturing right now. They're pinging the bot wave. They're just going to rotate down to that, escort it into the bottom tier 3 turret, and then attempt to raise it. I mean, there's a minute and a half on Baron if they want to be super captain careful, but honestly, might not be necessary. Also depends on what Afreeca tries to do. As everyone's just going to reset. Edge of Night and Maw of Malmortius on the Jace, along with Murktread. A little bit surprised that Faker didn't just get a Banshee's Veil for this game. Just been sitting on Lost Chapter, picked up an Oblivion Orb. He recognized no one on the enemy team really had any magic resistance outside of that Ezreal, who has 66. Faker's penning 33. Oh, okay, he has AD2 now. What? How did he have? Oh, Braum. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems like T1 are going to be super careful to end this game. So Vanilla Ice Cream not ready yet.
No, we're still making it. We're preparing it right now. Afreeca will have to make a last-ditch effort, but it's not looking great when they're down about 12,000 gold here at 28 minutes. The game extending because of the failed push from T1, and so I think they feel the pressure to just, you know, not try to throw anything from here and just take a safe Baron into safe Infernal Drake. Maybe go for a turn if Afreeca come into them. And they should still take that team fight.
Well, Kana and Elam just shoving in mid-wave. They're posturing right now. Baron is alive. And if Afreeca just walks in with the mid-inhibitor still being down... Oh, actually, it just respawned. It's going to respawn on this wave. You can tell because there's no super coming out.
Trying to zone them away. Spirit is nowhere near trying to go for the steal as Faker gets 3 of them, and Mystic is going to be found in the front line this time around thanks to the Faker ultimate. And they're just kind of smacking them with the wallets here, although we do have the Mordekaiser in the back line, but Teddy's still alive is the main issue. And Victor actually did a lot of damage in that fight, similar to the Mordekaiser, but it turned out that Teddy's wallet was the heaviest, had the most money in it, and he was able to shut down the team fight.
But I mean, still at the end of the day, this is not something that should have just happened in this team fight, and you can see Spirit waiting right around the dragon. So let's take a look at this. So T1, they burst down the Baron, they end up getting it. Kana super low on HP, Effort locking up the Mordekaiser. Big knockup, but Faker going into Zanya's very early. Elam not able to bring down everyone as fast as he would have liked, and then Fly managing to make it away with all that MS on Victor. Keen ends up going golden, still ends up dying, and now T1, they're threatening Infernal Soul here, and it looks like Afreeca's just going to give it over, so probably going to be all that she wrote now. Baron buff minions in mid, Infernal Soul. I can't imagine a world where Afreeca wins a team fight.
Doesn't look likely here. The last one, I think, is about as close as they're going to get. And, you know, it was closer than we imagined, but it was still a win for T1. They had Teddy alive, and Fly kind of had to go home with his tail between his legs. So they were able to keep map control, get a bunch of vision down in the enemy red side jungle, and deny any chance at a steal onto the Infernal Soul point. And so the push is now on with the bit of Baron buff that they still have available on 2 of their members. Slow and inevitable push coming in here from T1. They're sending Faker bot. He's got range. He can poke them away. And more importantly, he can poke down the inhibitor. But just going to let mid do the work and then engage from the mid side immediately. Keen is going to grab Effort, bring him into the death realm. Makes him pretty squishy, actually. Gets him very early on in the fight, but look at that damage. Ben is going to go down, and Faker's going to sweep him up as Mystic trying his hardest, but he is just going to get bopped on the head by the Sand Soldiers. And that should be the end of this one, guys. 31.5 minutes. T1 are going to take the series after taking Game 3. So looking for the kill here on Keen in the fountain, as they're desperate. Faker needs that kill, but it's not going to happen. GG as the Nexus goes down, and T1 take another win.
Well, they end up coming back, winning the series 2-1. And Game 2 and Game 3 absolutely stomps. Pretty much all around. Perfect gaming them in Game 2. We're not going to count efforts in at the Nexus turret.
Or the Rift Herald.
And this is why, at the very end of Game 1, we were saying that them losing the draft in that manner doesn't necessarily reflect on the entire series.
Yeah. It was
one
like
of the T1 things, by the way, that sometimes ends up happening with RNG. And at the start of Game 2, mentioning the players being really good, when they get the ball rolling, it really gets rolling. And Afreeca never were able to stabilize in Game 2 or 3. Very, very unfortunate. And honestly, Afreeca, even in game number 3 with the wonky, I mean, 5 magic, basically, damage coming in. Because Trundle against Cinderhulk, Subjugate is the majority of his utility. I mean, he is dealing hybrid, but...
Yeah. It's like 60-40 or something like that. Either way, it's just like extra upon extra. You've got Ezreal in there. It's too much. And I think that Mord pick was the real problem. Because if you're going to pick something that goes into mid lane like a Corki, even a Victor, you know?
At that point, the Mordekaiser pick coming in blind is just so peculiar. There's so many other lines that you can end up picking. They could have just gone Gangplank blind there with Orianna, or Gangplank blind with Corki. Both of those variations would just be so much better than what they ended up going with. It was, I don't know. When you're
it's also Keen, too, who has a very deep champion pool, who can play a lot. Maybe he just decided that I'm playing Mord. It just seemed weird.
Mordekaiser
you know?
sucks.
Really?
Look, he's pretty bad. He's not a very good, which also is why it's so interesting, because if you pick Mordekaiser into someone that's better than you, which isn't what's happening here, but you'll really feel the problems of the champion, even in matchups that are supposed to be okay. Because he really peaks early on and then falls off a cliff, and eventually 80 carries get to a point where they're not even death realmable, because they'll just kill you inside of it. When he's ahead, yeah, he's a juggernaut. He'll be very oppressive, but it really is AP Darius in the sense where if you end up blinding him, it just feels very, very bad. And even as a counter pick, it's very bizarre. And so it's so surprising to see that Keen opted for that as his pick of choice, going in blind top, when champions like Gangplank still exist. Even Jace, for himself, if you're looking for a blind pick top laner.
Yeah. I mean, even Aatrox, he was available, you know? It's not your favorite pick, but it's definitely something that these Korean players love to play. Not necessarily a super common team pick, to be honest, but there were definitely a lot of options, and we did see some questionable pick ban choices, some questionable drafting today from both teams. And we've seen many examples now, even in just this one series, of why it's so important to have clean drafting, because it really can turn the tide of a game and, you know, give you outs in maybe, you know, when you're behind, or it give you better chances of winning, closing out the game when you're ahead. Just more efficient, overall better drafts.
Yeah. And I ended up giving over the POG to Faker. I think that the lane kingdom happening in mid, all the gank setups, really, really good. Again, being able to be free and run around the map as well was super valuable. Even if Teddy really did show up in the later stages of the game.
야, 나 싸운 거 볼게, 이거.
삐뚤어 안 삐.
Those would be
앞부터
mine
끌렸고.
to vote.
끌렸어.
밖에 유리, 밖에 유리.
모델 봐줘. 모델 봐줘, 이거.
Let's look at Mord. Let's look at Mord.
모델부터, 앞라인부터.
Starting from Mord.
야, 이즈 노플.
From the front.
아래 줘, 아래 줘, 아래 줘.
나이스. 이즈 노플.
Nice. Flash.
끝내라.
앞에 좀 하자.
끝내라.
나이스.
여기 잡으실
That
분.
was good.
끝내실 분.
I was happy with that.
끝내실 분.
터치면 끝나요.
야, 죽여!
터치면 끝나요.
Get him.
죽여. 끝내. 아, 나 이거 너무 죽이고 있어. 아,
It's like,
질량 조작
should have
성공.
killed him.
나비.
It's a pity. We were close. And yeah, it all started from that first fight where they were chasing effort. And after that, things kind of went boom over there on the side of Afreeca, and their comp wasn't really able to handle it from behind.
Yeah.
Multiple very flashy plays from Faker's Azir. He was really almost angrily getting into the back line. Very quick. Almost at the drop of a hat, he was able to engage on the enemy.
Every series, by the way, the last couple of days has really been going the distance.
Yeah. I was talking to Sunke about this, Suncaster, over on the side of the Korean desk, and it's like every day is 5-6, 5-6. Like,
yeah.
It's just the rotation. Like, it's definitely going the distance. Even yesterday, DRX against Sandbox,
Yesterday,
I believe.
I got home at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, I got home at 1. It was a late day. It was a long day.
I stood around for an hour in the rain trying to get a taxi.
It's really hard to get taxis around here, so that doesn't help.
2 a.m.
Yeah. And we're waiting on the interview. Sorry about the little delay, but we'll have that in just a moment. I think we also still have to show the player of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't think that was shown just yet. So,
Who do you think got it?
Faker is my guess. I know that's who you voted for, and you're 2 for 2 today, by the way. So I think you're going to be 3 for 3. So that is my guess here. We'll see though. I think it wasn't going to be him. I don't really know who it would have been. I think Teddy had a pretty. He had kind of like a show-off game. You know, he was coming in with a lot of mechanics, but it is definitely Faker. And LS is 3 for 3. On his predictions here, so we are going to be hearing from Faker and Effort in the interview.
A lot of the setups that he had early on, just super nice. So many things he did inside of this game for his team. Very valuable. And yeah, that was a 3-man Shurima shuffle. Ends up going golden inside of the Zanyas. Team 1 all just grouping up on top of each other. And honestly, Keen did a lot in this team fight, as well as Victor. Victor could have went down had Element landed that last undertow, but understandable. Champion was ghosted, as well as I think having the Q speed active, so yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to chase a Victor at all, so it was like it was him trying to reach as he falls off the building. He's like, wait, I'm still a good champion. But actually, you know,
no.
Not as good as Corky in that spot. I just think about all those engages where perhaps Corky would have had a little bit more mobility to get away. But either way, guys, we have the interview, so I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Congratulations on the win. Faker Effort, the same duo we saw on the previous POG interview. So first off, Effort, how do you feel? After the last victory, we are having the second wins in a row, so I'm happy.
처음에 1패로 시작해서 굉장히
Well,
좋았는데
we are in a really bad atmosphere starting off the split with a loss, but it's getting better.
첫 패여서 분위기가 안 좋은 거예요? 1패인 거 같고 분위기가
I
안
mean,
좋은
that's only one loss though.
포부가 커서 그런가요? 이유가
Is that
있을까요?
because like T1 has such a high standard?
안 좋은 전통이 있어가지고
And we have this bad jinx going on in the summer split, so we just wanted to stop this.
김종성 선수도 그거 깨고 싶다는 얘기 많이 했었어요.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Kim also mentioned about the summer jinx in T1. Moving on, you guys are facing against Afreeca with a huge momentum, and you guys dropped the game in game number 1, and you guys subbed in LM in jungle. So what kind of feedback went back and forth? In game number 1, we said our team fight power was so low, our comp was not that good, so we thought that we should have more fights with an adjusted team comp.
어떻게 보면 요즘은 잘 안 나오는 알리스타를
Game number 2, Effort, you play Alistar. Last time it was Rakan, so you're going on with some off-meta picks with a high confidence.
네, 제가 이니시에 좀 자신 있어서
Yes, I'm confident with team fight openings this time around. I planned for going in with Alistar and then surviving out.
마지막에 사실 저희는 오늘
퍼펙트를
이거 노데스
But I want to ask you about the perfect game. You guys were so close to getting it, but you died to a turret. Was that your fault?
0데스로 끝날 수 있는 상황이었는데.
저는 1초라도 빨리 끝내고 싶어서
I just wanted to
웨이브가
end
하나밖에
the game
없었던
1
걸로
second
그래서
faster because we had a very small minion wave left. So I just wanted to shorten our game duration.
그 퍼펙트 나올 수 있는 상황이었는데.
Faker,
뭐
what do you
사실
think about that?
퍼펙트가 뭐 중요한 건 아니고요.
예.
I mean, perfect game doesn't really matter, you know? I don't really care.
그렇죠.
그래요.
이기는 게 가장 중요하니까요. 네.
딜량도 별로 중요한 건 아닌가요, 페이커?
What about damage? Well, damage matters
차이가
though.
있네요. 이게 딱 명확한
I
차이가
see the
있네요.
difference
네.
in the Faker's
네.
standard.
이거 그게 사실 그것 때문에 그 딜량과
About
그리고
the
이
damage
퍼펙트에게 큰 차이를
and
스스로 느끼고 뭐 조작이라는
the
얘기도 하셨는데
perfect
그 두 개를 비교해 주시면 에이 이거
So
뭐
would you like to
퍼펙트는 이래서 안
compare
중요한
that?
거고
Would you like
딜량은
to
이렇게 해서 중요한 거다. 딱 정리
elaborate
좀
that about your
부탁드릴까요?
answer?
네, 사실 뭐 퍼펙트도 중요하긴
To be
하지만
honest, I mean, perfect game score is also important.
제가 잘한 거잖아요.
But what matters is me performing good. So I'm happy that I
그래서
got
마지막에 어떻게
a very
보면
high damage
오더가
number in
갈리는
the
장면도
end.
있었어요.
네.
어떤 선수는 이거 죽여야 돼. 그리고 어떤
Yeah,
선수는
I
빨리
mean, in
밀어.
the end,
이렇게
I
오더가 갈리는
saw
장면도
the
있었는데
players were
어느 쪽 오더가 조금 더
were not
맞는
on the
판단인
same
것 같아요,
page
양 선수가
because
생각하기에.
some are going for the kill, some are going for the turret or the
잡았어도
nexus.
됐을 것 같아요.
I mean, yeah, we are in a huge lead, so maybe we could have gone in for a
그러면 이제 또
fountain
페이커
dive.
선수 역시나 또 아지르로 맹활약을 하셨는데
Faker,
오프닝 영상도 많은
you are
화제가 되고
popping
있잖아요.
off
네.
on
페이커
the
본인
Seer,
입장에서 봤을 때
the
좀
champion
어때요?
that you
만족스러운
were
그 영상?
투구 탁 떨어지는
in
그런 거
as the
나오잖아요.
opening title.
어때요?
네, 되게
How did
멋지게
you like
잘
that?
해주신 것 같아서 좀
I mean, it was
만족하고
really
있고요.
cool,
네.
so I'm really
다음에는 좀
satisfied.
이제,
Next time,
다른 챔피언도
I also want to try other champions.
예.
It will be really
본인이
fun.
그냥 지금 생각해서 이것도 한번 좋을 것 같다.
Would you like to
본인이
name
좀
some?
이렇게 제안을 해주신다면 어떤 챔피언? 아지르는 지금 완전 성공적이니까 뭐가 나왔으면 좋겠습니다.
Azure was a huge success.
저는
많아서.
크게 상관없을 것 같아요. 근데
I don't really care.
알겠습니다. 네. 자 이렇게 해서 오늘 이제 연승 스타트가 좀
SK
늦었습니다만
or
경기
T1,
연승하고
you
있어요. 다음
guys are
경기는 샌드박스
continuing
경기거든요.
this winning
자, 이제
streak,
정말
and you'll be
중요한 경기,
taking on
연승사가 지금 기회가
Sandbox
될수 있는데 한
next
번씩
time.
부탁드리겠습니다. F부터
How are we going to
부탁드립니다.
prepare for
네,
that?
이번에는 썸머 시즌 초반부터 좀 치고 나갈
I
수
really
있게
hope that we want to
열심히
kind of
준비해서
start really
꼭
fast in the summer split this time around, so we will make sure to get the third wins in a row.
연승 중이다 보니까 이 기세를
Yeah, I mean, we are in a winning streak, so I want to continue this momentum, so we will try to prepare for the Sandbox series really hard and keep this going.
파이팅 부탁드리겠습니다.
This will be the end of the interview with
감사합니다.
Faker Effort from
네.
T1, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, G-Sun, for the wonderful translation there. Good to hear from Effort and Faker. Very realistic. I think after that series, not super excited. They said, hey, we had some problems, but happily we got the win after that one. As we're going to take a look at the standings now after the game. T1 able to pick up their second win now. They're on a 2-game winning streak after dropping the first series to DRX. And Afreeca facing off against arguably, their first stronger team, really strong team here in the LCK. Do drop it, although they do pick up the one game, so it's not so bad. We're beginning to see things shape up here in the standings, but it's still very early on for this split.
Yeah, the thing is that for Afreeca, we'll have to see how they fare against the other middle of the pack and other high-end teams. So T1, fortunately, they have a couple of easy matches actually coming up.
Yeah.
So they should be sitting pretty. But for our second series, we have Dynamics versus Hanwha Esports coming up next.
Yeah.
And the way things are looking, Dynamics should probably be considered the heavy favorites.
That is what we're considering. Yes, Hanwha has shown that they are struggling with the top side of their map, but we'll have to see who does come out to play today if they mix anything up. But guys, first we'll have a 30-minute break when we come back. Series number 2.